US to be processed. And if you know Mr. Chikata, his intention was, why can't we do it here? Let's get the right resources and start doing it.
So as far back as 88,
yes,
they had wanted you to set up this for GMPC.
Correct.
For the exploration activity.
For the exploration activity. And that is what I was doing till 92, when I moved to my own company, and then I began to explore this part.
So beyond the data for exploration,
yes,
what was your company set up to do?
Okay, my company was a distributor for Digital Equipment Corporation, which is where I had worked after I finished my PhD in 77. I went to work at Digital Equipment Corporation. They were the main competitor for IBM, and they were making mini computers. Instead of the large machines, they were the leader in the mini computer era. And there I was you might say, the one responsible for research in functionality, meaning architecture-related things, as well as performance and availability, reliability-related things.
So these equipment that DEC were producing, were people buying them in Ghana?
Yes. In fact, Mr. GMPC had bought one.
Okay.
And that was the justification for recruiting somebody directly from the company
to come and help set it up.
Help set it up. That's precisely that.
But beyond GMPC, were there other companies that use such things?
Oh, yeah. VRA was another one. I mean,
so companies that required a lot of data.
Yes.
That needed to interpret the data and process it to make decisions.
Yes. Were the ones.
So I can imagine banks would also need some.
Yes, banks also did. And subsequently we supplied equipment to the banks as well.
At what point did the internet come to Ghana?
Okay. Prior to the internet, there were some other, you might say, environmental things. Notice that around 88 is when PC started coming.
Yes.
We had also gone through a period in which we were producing a lot of graduates for government through the effort of KNUST. And at the same time, we had also done a lot of literacy in general for awareness. Okay. And then this very government that had this can-do attitude also was very keen on making sure we didn't miss this boat, meaning that they knew this was very important. Computing was extremely important for them. And then they wanted us to make sure that we're on board. And so from my role at GMPC, you can naturally see how it made a lot of sense for me to be helping ECG, for me to be helping VRA, and so on and so forth. In the process, prepare the country to adopt the internet.
So this will still be the early 90s?
Early 90s, early 90s.
When did the internet, when was the internet born globally? Do you know?
Oh, 90.
1990?
1990. Now,
is that what led, okay, go ahead.
Prior to that, the internet was there, but it was there as a special project of sorts called the ARPA project.
The CAPA project?
The ARPA.
The ARPA project.
The Advanced Research Project Agency. Okay. They had, a program. But around 90, it moved into the commercial world. Okay. And so we were playing catch up. And part of the context also was interesting that you might appreciate. There were some media houses here around 93 that would carry their material by snail mail and put them on the internet. Of course, if we didn't have internet, we would not see. If we didn't have internet, we cannot reply. So you can imagine that there will be a policy interest in making sure that we have the internet so that at least we can reply. As you need to have yourself also expressed out there, but if only one side is on the internet and you are not there, then it makes it very difficult. So as a result of that, there was generally a climate of, if we can do, let's do it.
But it was in 95 that we officially christened the internet in Ghana.
Yes, and the reason for it, we have something that we call full connectivity, meaning that the line joining the internet is on all the time. Okay. Now, in 93, we had a connection through our experiments. By December 93, we had a connection to the internet. We were connecting to UK, a place called Pipex. We had a connection. But see how we manage. We were only opening that international line every 4 hours. because if you make a call and you stay on 24 hours, maybe it will be too much. And so as experimental activity, we'll open it up 4 hours. And during the 4 hours, we'll do all the things we have to do, like setup and so on. So that was the initial phase. We just wanted to show that whatever infrastructure we have here that many people did not respect, we respected it. We knew it was capable of carrying the traffic. So we began to demonstrate that. And that was the first phase. That was in 93. Then in 94, we changed this up-down international to a lease line, but very slow rate, 9.6.
I see.
You don't think 9.6 is fast, but 9.6 kilobits per second was very fast.
9.6 kilobits per second.
Per second. Today you talk in megs. It was kilo. And that is what we use to move from the dial-up international to lease line international. But you can see it's too small, really. It could only carry mail. Of course, that was fine because mail was the main
thing that was being communicated.
Yes. And even news groups and all these things were behaving like mail. So that was the second step. And then in 95, we put up a dish. We had managed to convince, PNT and the ministry to give us a bypass so that we can have a separate dish through which we pass the traffic. Now, even the least...
A satellite dish?
A satellite dish, 3.8 meter. At that time, we had all those technologies and we were doing all that. Now, but even the lease line I mentioned, we were paying $7,500 a month for that lease line.
Even then?
Even then. For the Ghana half, and then for where we are landing, because they usually talk about half circuits. For where we are landing, which is in UK, they charge us £5,000 plus VAT. But we don't live there. I mean, you see the irony of the thing. But we were bold enough.
It was very expensive.
Yes, very expensive. But we were determined.
So you were working through the post and telecommunications company called PNT?
PNT.
In 95?
In 95.
Were they happy with what? Did they understand what you were doing?
Oh, it takes some education and it takes some muscling and it takes some policy authority.
So what was your role in government? Were you a government official then?
No.
You were a private sector person?
I was a private sector person. My government official role was ended in 92. I was then a UNDP consultant to GNPC, and I set up their things.
So you were not pushing the internet as a government person?
No.
This was private sector?
Private sector, but I was a big, you might say, supplier of computing.
For the government? For
the government.
Who was the Minister of Communication at the time? Do you remember?
Yes, it was Mr. Kwame Pepra.
Kwame Pepra? Your former mate from Achimota?
Yes. And he understood it immediately. Because his reaction was, where do you buy your services from? I said, I buy from PNT. So then what's the problem? Because then he described that as value-added service.
Wow. This is the point of view. We're trying to understand the history of the internet. Now you are watching me online on YouTube and you are thinking it's normal. There are people who had to essentially fight for this to come to Ghana 30 years ago. Professor Narku Quaynor is one of those pioneers. And this month they are looking at the Africa Internet Summit and also looking at 30 years of internet in Ghana. When we come back, we'll talk a bit more about the early days and how it's evolved. Stay with us.
First unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244-644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Trot from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late,
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. Yeah, you go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
God, Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it to here, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Prof, is that his car?
Everywhere, luckiest everywhere.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Welcome back. Tonight on The Point of View, we're reflecting, reminiscing, and also looking forward. My guest, Professor Narku Quaynor, who is the man who initiated or pioneered the internet using NCS. That was the company he formed. He's also one of the key founders of the computer science profession in the country. He was mentored by Professor Francis Alote. And we are discussing all of that and also looking at what the internet can be used for. Just to get a few points of clarification. So even though this internet project was private sector led, it was also government partnered.
Yes.
Because the minister said PNT must. I know PNT because I remember my mother was working for one side and they separated into Post and Telecoms.
Correct.
So they became Ghana Post and Ghana Telecom. Now, what do you remember of the resistance? What kind of resistance did you face? Because a lot of times when new things are happening, there are many people who are skeptical. There are people who are afraid that they would lose their jobs. Did you face any resistance in those days when you were discussing $7,000 for our side, £5,000 a month? What's the sense in this? What kind of opposition did you get?
Oh, the opposition was real, not only in Ghana, around the whole world.
Okay.
The opposition from the traditional telecommunications sector was not favorable to the internet, but it took a while. But once they understood, in fact, they've taken it over.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened. Now, with respect to Ghana, the resistance was to an extent maybe lack of information at the time, and so we had to do a lot of education around the subject. And then also, they were facing a peculiar problem, which was the high cost of subscriber lines.
Yes.
You know, as it was costing like $1,000 per subscriber line addition, and so it was becoming very heavy for the telco to manage. At the same time, their revenue could be eroded if the internet came. So there were many emotions around it. Not only were they not certain of the technology, but then they could also see the technology as a threat. And at the same time, they are concerned relinquishing authority to some other private sector entity, something they felt was their own, meaning, you know, I am the one who provides subscriber lines. Who is this private sector who is now going to try and provide subscriber lines? We had to explain all these things. But not to worry, in the end, I built the internet for Ghana Telecom.
Using your company NCS?
Yes.
Network Computing Systems?
Yes.
That company still exists today?
No.
It doesn't?
Somehow it got shut down around 2003.
Wow. Now, you mentioned a line. So that was that copper? What was the technology like? Because today we have fiber, we have satellite.
Yes.
What type of technology was the internet riding on in those days?
Okay, we have satellite, right?
Yes.
So Kuntunse can give you a lease line that will take you and land in British Telecom, and then you can take some copper, or there was some fiber beginning to emerge, and then we had some cable projects. There was a SAT3 cable project also. So there was some infrastructure emerging, but they're not to the pace that you have, because right now you don't just use fiber. You have fiber with different wave division inside. All kinds of things, advancements have occurred, which were not there at the time.
So in Ghana today, we have the fiber,
Yes.
And then we have the satellite.
Yes.
And then, do we still have companies that use the copper cable?
Oh, the terrestrial
It's still that.
is fine. Copper is fine. Yeah.
Do we have the right mix? Because I recall there was I think a couple of years ago, there was an incident, supposedly subsea cable disruption.
Sure.
And the whole nation went down.
Yes.
And I think that was prior to the coming in of Elon Musk's company. Is there an ideal mix of internet sources for a country? And where do you think Ghana is on that front?
Okay, Ghana has taken on a very open approach
Okay.
to undersea cables. And I believe that with the right application for recognition or whatever, NCA is able to manage that well. On the other hand, you are now talking about resilience. You said you had a cable break, and we were so dependent on it, and then that affected the whole thing. But if we had planned properly and we had 10 independent cables that we can route our traffic through, you will not notice apart from maybe slight response, going bad, you will not notice much difference. So it's more about what is the mix, that you have. We have a number of cables around, and more are coming, but some of these cables are also consortiums or internationally owned and so on. So I can turn the question back, what are we doing to own our own fiber, our own cables?
Because that's where the real sovereignty begins from.
Yes.
We haven't invested
Yet.
in owning our own fiber or cables.
Correct.
Is it because of the initial cost outlay?
Oh, I'm sure that's a factor, but if your economy is going to be dependent on it, I think it's worth it.
I'll come to mobile in a second, but I'm still going back to history. Do we have record of the first email ever sent to or from Ghana?
Okay. Usually, yeah, I'm sure we can find that for you, but because normally we say you have to do a ping. So we send the first ping to a certain location we all know in the US. In fact, we call it NSRC, okay, a Network Resource Center of sorts. And so we know, and so we send the ping to that place, and then the record is kept for us. So that's something that we can find.
That would be very interesting.
Yes.
Now, the average speed for internet is in the megs.
Today.
Right? So we started from 9.6 kilobits per second. It increased to 128 kilobits per second by 95.
Yes.
People still complain internet is relatively slower here.
Yeah.
Is there an ideal speed that then makes the internet the enabler it should be? Because a lot of people try and consume content on TV, but for the internet to really open up the world, it needs to be available, accessible, and affordable. What is the level of speed that is ideal, and how do we make that available and affordable?
Okay, ideal is a challenge for the following reason. Some people send lightweight material.
Yeah.
Some people send very heavyweight material. So depending on you might say the workload within our community, that is what will help us determine. On the other hand, we all want to have broadband in the sense that it's large enough that you can crank up. Meaning when you need to use it, you're able to, it's broad so you can stretch it. That's the whole concept. Now, if you don't have the infrastructure that's able to do that, then you feel constrained. Okay, so that's the thing. But on the whole, it has to be several megs. Several, meaning, for each person, each subscriber that joins the system needs to have, it's not unusual that he expects to have 10, 20 meg. And if he's carrying heavy scientific data, maybe some genetic information or some enzymes or something, he may need more. So you notice that in the research labs, the bandwidth they have going out of the lab is in gigs. Okay, and that is why we even have a special research and education network helping to address those sort of demands. Meaning the demand you see from the ordinary user is slightly different from the demand you see from serious research institutions who are doing things, collaborating with their colleagues overseas, These days we write documents together overseas. You're writing a paper with somebody. You must have good enough bandwidth to be able to.
The companies use certain terms: 2G, 3G, 4G. In fact, MTN announced a few days ago that they were going to shut down their 2G and 3G services. What do those things mean?
Oh, okay. It's generations of